Well, it's that time of year. Easter is upon us. This weekend many will be munching on delicious chocolate eggs of all shapes and sizes. Indeed, some may take their munching a little too far. However, here at Archaeology Towers, though we do like chocolate, normally we're all about the archaeology. Delicious archaeology. So, rather than chocolate, what should we examine in this In Focus video? Aha! Welcome to Rapa Nui, also known as Easter Island, a beautiful Polynesian island in the southeastern Pacific Ocean. It is host to one of the richest collections of petroglyphs or rock drawings in all of Polynesia. However, we are here today to examine another aspect of the island's heritage, the famous head statues, or Moai. Set upon stone platforms called ahu and totalling almost 900 statues, they are located all over the island, however primarily on the fringe, facing inland. Carved between AD 1250 and 1500, they are famous for their striking minimalist features. And a distinctive 3 to 5 head-to-body ratio. They weigh up to 270 tons, and can be anything up to 33 feet or 10 meters tall. In 1979, archaeologists discovered that many of the eye sockets originally held eyes carved from coral. And some of the Moai had distinctive pukeo topknots or headdresses carved in red scoria. In some cases, it is thought that these statues depict real people. But all of the Moai are likely to have been highly venerated as depictions of deified ancestors. All but 53 of these monolithic masterpieces were carved from compressed volcanic ash called tuff, which was laboriously shaped by hand at the quarry site of Rana Rakaru. The quarry was divided into tribal zones, and it took 6 people approximately 1 year to finish one Moai statue. More than half of all known Moai are still located close to the quarry site. These, along with a litter of stone tools, testify that the quarry was suddenly and dramatically abandoned. Some suspected that the arrival of European explorers on Easter Sunday 1722 put an end to Moai construction. However, accounts of these explorers suggest that construction had ended before they arrived. The coming years would be trying for the people of Rapa Nui. Endemic warfare broke out amongst the tribes. Moai were toppled, in some cases breaking their necks. In the 1860s, Peruvian slave traders raided the island, and successive bouts of smallpox and tuberculosis killed 97% of the island's estimated population. The last of the standing Moai statues were reported in 1838, and by 1868 all of the Moai had been toppled, none were left standing. In recent years, some of the Moai have been returned to a standing position, some have even had eyes fashioned for them once again. But for many an enigma remained. Just how were they transported from the Rana Rakaru quarry to the ahu platforms? Oral tradition states that certain people had the power to command these Moai to move. However, it is thought more likely that wooden rollers or sleds were employed. Over the years, various experiments have attempted to reconstruct such methods, but are these even valid? After all, Rapa Nui isn't exactly replete with trees and wooden resources. But the ancient pollen records tell a different story entirely. They indicate that the island was almost entirely forested until around AD 1200, roughly when Moai carving began. Tree pollen disappears from the record around about 1650, around about the time when Rana Rakaru, the quarry, was abandoned. The need to move statues to the ahu platforms had apparently led people to exhaust their island's habitat. It is likely that the quarry was abandoned because there was no longer a way to transport the Moai. And when explorers arrived in the 18th century, these stone sentinels inhabited a treeless landscape. The story of Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, could so easily have ended with obsession, famine, disease, and desolation. However, today the population thrives and takes great pride in their heritage. and the Moai are rightly prized as remarkable cultural artifacts. Indeed, they are iconic and famous the world over, appearing in and on everything, from cartoons to chess sets. They have even made forays into the world of superheroes, appearing in Marvel Comics, doing battle with the likes of the Hulk and Thor. But in a world which is increasingly aware that many of its resources are finite, perhaps they could serve as sobering reminders that before we know it, we too might be down to our last tree, drop of oil, or patch of farmland. A fitting legacy for the incredible Moai of Rapa Nui. Whatever you're doing this Easter weekend, we wish you well.